ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आविश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse number 7. So in the previous verse we read the process of having an experience of Brahman, where Brahma spoke that to realize this one has to become free from all the thought process. Tathapi bhuman mahima gunasya. So this Mahima or Brahman of Bhagavan is understood vibodhum arhati amalantaratmani. So when antaratma, the heart or the mind becomes amala, free from all modifications, desires, thoughts, feelings, emotions, then vibodhum arhati, then it becomes manifest. And that is the process of avikriyat, swanubhavat, arupata, ananya bodhyatmataya na cha anyatha. So there is no vikara or modification of the mind, and it is swanubhava, it is its own experience. Experience and experiencer are one, and there is no object of experience, arupta. And this happens with the identification, ananya bodhyatma. So that is the swarupa, that is the form of this experience. There is nothing more which can be said about. So Krishna also says this in Bhagavad Gita. Sukham atyantikam yat buddhi grahyam atindriyam yam labdhva chaparam labham namanyate adhikam tatha. So tasmin sthitena dukkhena guruna api vichalyate tam vidyat dukh sanyogam viyogam yoga sangitam. So this is the same experience which is described. Yatru paramate chittam nivrittam yoga sevaya yatha dipo nivatasto nengte sopma smrita. So that example he gives like a lamp in a windless lamp, means ghee lamp, not the bulb. Although these days they also have the bulb which flickers. But if there is a lamp or a candle, so the flame will waver. So when mind does not waver at all, because the thoughts, emotions, they waver the mind. So when it becomes steady like that, then Brahman becomes manifest there. So that is the process. Santa Sukha Antaratma Antar Jyotirevaja. So it is all internal. So that's what was described in the previous sloka. And before that he said that you can be known only through bhakti, but this was the process of Brahman. Now he speaks how it is not possible to know him as a person, and what he himself tried to do, he will ask to forgive him. Out of humility he speaks many of these slokas. So he says, Gunatmanastepi gunan vimatum hitavatirnasya kaishiresya kalena yerva vimita sukalpair bhupanshavaakhe mihika dubhasa. So gunatmanastepi gunan vimatum kaishire. So who is capable of knowing or measuring or counting your qualities? Gunan vimatum. So mang mani dhatu. You are the gunatmana, you are the very atma of the gunas, or you are the source of the gunas. So who can count your qualities, who have manifested here for the benefit of humanity? Hitavtirnasya kaishire asya. So one can take any amount of time. If there are too many things to be counted, it takes time. It says kalena yairvav vimita sukalpai. So even most experts, more great mathematicians, they are not able to do that. Even if they can count bhupansava, the dust particles on the earth, or khe mihika, or the water particles in the atmosphere or in the fog, and dyubhasa, or the photons in the light rays, still they would not be able to count your qualities. Means you are unlimited. That's what it means, that he is unlimited, because there is no possibility that one can do that. So he says, aprakritatva Aprakrit Kalyan Gunmaya Ayam Tavidam. So this Bhagavad Swarupam tu prema bhaktya vina vigyatum kepi maya sindhu tirnapi vidyavantopi na shaknuvanti. So this body of Bhagwan is Aprakrit Kalyan Gunmaya. It has transcendental qualities which are for the benefit of others. So this is your Swarupa, Tavidam Bhagavad Swarupam. And it can be known only through Prema Bhakti, not by any other means. So he says without Prema Bhaktya Vina Vijyatum Kepi, nobody can know this without Prema Bhakti. So Maya Sindhu Tirna api Vidyavantopi na Shaknuvanti. Those who have even crossed Maya, the ocean of Maya, and they may be very learned, they also are unable to know or count your qualities. Yadi me jagat jana asmadadayastvam pashyantopi na jananti kim. If person like me cannot know you, what to speak of people who are in my universe. If I cannot know you, then how the people of my universe can know you? So I am seeing you directly, they don't see you. I know, I have knowledge of the Vedas, they do not have it. So how would they know it? What is the possibility of anyone else knowing it? So tav maha madhuran gunanapi sankhyatum na shaknuvanti tan madhurya anubhav varta dure vartatam iti aham. So one cannot count your sweet qualities, forget about having an experience of them. There is no possibility of having experience of your qualities. Even counting them is not possible. Because counting is easy, but to have an experience, you can go to a shop and count how many cakes are there. But to eat is a different thing. You have to pay for that. So he says that sankhyatum api na shaknuvanti. So tan madhurya anubhav varta tu dure vartatam ityah guna. So it is for that he speaks this sloka. Guna atmanaha swarupa bhuta yasya. So gunatmana means that these gunas are his own swarupa. The qualities which human beings have, they don't belong to them. That's why they come and go. Today you have one quality, tomorrow you may not have it. Today you have good memory, tomorrow you can have Alzheimer. Right? Today you remember slokas, tomorrow you forget. Because this is all external. You may be physically strong today. You got diarrhea, in one day you are finished. So therefore he says that these qualities of Bhagavan are not like that. They are part of his Swarupa. They cannot be taken away from him. They belong to him only. Unlike our qualities come and go, they are temporary because they do not belong to our inner self. So therefore there is no need to be proud of them. Because today here, tomorrow somewhere. So he is gunatmana. Gunanam nityatvam aprakritatvam cha uktam. Therefore his qualities are eternal and they are non-material. So therefore they are permanent. That is the significance of it. Tathacha Brahma Tarke. Therefore it is said in Brahma Tarka. This is a book which Madhvacharya quotes from. Nobody has seen it. It's not available now. So Gunai Swarup Bhutaistu Guniyasau Hari Ishvara. So Hari, who is Ishvara, Supreme Master, he is called Guni. So guni means one who has gunas. So what is the difference between him calling guni and others having guna? He says swarup bhuta. That the gunas are part of his own swarupa, his internal being. They are not external to him. Therefore he is called guni. Api tu arthe. The word api in tathapi, tathapi bhuman, mahima gunasyate. So, no. This is gunatmanastepi gunan vimatam. In this sloka is also api there. So there api means tu. Means but. So gunatmanastu tava gunan vimatum iti ganetum keishire shaknuvanti apitu naiva. So the question which is asked here is that who can know it? The meaning is that no one can know it. So am bhava arsha. So what is the meaning of this statement am bhava arsha? Anybody can say? Where is Purushottam Prabhu? So we just did one sutra in Harinamat Vyakaran. Rich Varjit Guru Ishwarader Amadhokshaje. Right? So the meaning of the sutra is that except for the rich dhatu, any dhatu which begins with Guru, Rich Varjit Guru, Sarveshwara, then it will take Am in Adhokshaja. So here dhatu is Isha. Right? So Isha is beginning with Guru Ishvara. Right? Rich Varjit Guru Ishvara de Ramadhokshaja. So it should take Am. Instead of Ishire, it should be Isham Babhuvire. That should be the form. So how he made Ishire here? It's not according to the grammar. So therefore he says Am Bhava Arsha. So this is a sage usage. It's allowed because Vyas used it, but it's not possible according to Panini or Harinama Vyakaran or any of the grammars. Panini is the main one. So therefore it says Am Abhava Arsha. That is the meaning. Otherwise you will think what is this Am here. So asya vishwasya hitaya samsara roga nivrittaye avtirnasya vaiti vitarke. So hita avtirnasya means that you have appeared here for the welfare of this samsara. Vaiti vitarke, va is used in the sense of vitarka. Yai sukalpair ati nipunai sankarshanadibhir. So even Sukalpa means most expert, and most expert here are not some material human beings. He says even somebody like Sankarshana, even he cannot count his qualities. So he may be able to count Bhupanshava, Yan Sankarshanadibhir Bhuparmanavo Vapi Vimita Ganita. That he can count the atoms on earth. Scientists can also calculate, right? They also give number how many atoms are there. So Sankarshan can also do that. Tatha tatopi adhika, and then there are more khe mihika himkana api. So water particles in the air, they are more. Tatha tatopi adhika dyubhasa, and more than that is divi suryadinam kiran parmanava. The particles in the rays of sun and so on. Tathapi te sankarshanaadya yan adyapi gayanto gayanta simanam naivapnuvanti ityarthi. So they can count the particles or dust particles on the earth, they can count the water particles in the air, they can count the photons in the light, but they cannot count the qualities of Bhagavan. All the Sankarshan is always reciting, but even he is not coming to the limit of his qualities. So that is the meaning of the sloka. Now he gives one more meaning. Yadva गुणे त्रिगुणमये जगति आत्मा पालनार्थ मनो यस्य तथा भूतस्यापि तव गुणान् विमातुं नैशिरे किं पुनर्गुणातीत महाचमत्कारा दधि चौर्यादि क्रीडात्मने. So he gives another meaning of the word gunatmana. Atma also means mind. So whose qualities are, or whose mind is fixed in the Jagat, in taking care of this material world made of three gunas. So that is Gunatmana. So you cannot count his qualities, but to speak of counting qualities of Krishna, who is engaged in activities such as stealing the butter and so on. Dadhi Chauryadi Kridatma. That is another explanation. So now he speaks the next verse, which is very nice verse. Everybody should memorize this sloka. It's very practical for every devotee. Very one of the wonderful slokas from Bhāgavatam. Tattenukampam susamikshamaṇo bhunjane evatmakritam vipakam hridvāgavapubhir vidhan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So tat te anukampam susamikshamaṇa yo jivet sadaya bhak. So yo te anukampam susamikshamaṇa jivet sadaya bhak. That is the main sentence. That one who lives while seeing your anukampa, your grace all around, he becomes qualified to inherit your property. That is the meaning. And what else he is supposed to do? Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. So atmakritam means one's own deeds, and vipakam is outcome. So experiencing the outcome of one's past deeds, one should live here in this material world while hridvāgavapubhir vidadhan namaste, while bowing down to you with his heart, speech and body, and seeing the grace of Bhagavan in everything. If one can live like this, then mukti pade sadaya bhak. Then he becomes qualified to inherit mukti pada. So this is the sloka which I think Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sarvam Bhattacharya wanted to change the word mukti pada to bhakti pada. So Mahaprabhu said, no, don't change. There is no need to change it. Because after meeting Mahaprabhu, although before that he was Advaitvadi and mukti pada will be nice word for them, and then he became averse to the word mukti. So he said, no, don't change. He gave a meaning to it. So tadevam अन्यत् सर्व साधनम परित्यज्य भक्तिमेव कुर्वन् त्वाम लभते iti prakarana artho avagata. So he says that what is the conclusion till now from all the verses which Brahma has spoken. So the conclusion is that one should give up everything else. Everything else means all other means of realizing yourself, realizing Bhagavan, whatever all other spiritual practices or spiritual paths are there, one should completely abandon them. Parityajya means all around giving up, not keeping some trace of this, trace of that. Let me also try tantra, little with mantra, all that. People do that mixture. So he says, no, sarva sadhanam parityajya. Anyat sarva sadhanam parityajya. Giving up all other sadhana. Because what is the need? If you have faith in Krishna, then there is no need of any other sadhana. He himself says, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. So if we believe in that, then why we need any other sadhana? Why we need any other process? His word is enough. If we can believe in that. Yogakshemam vahamyam. But the problem is that we don't believe. We can believe in things which are not worthy of belief. We can put trust. We put our trust in the bank. Right? But actually, what is the guarantee that bank will give your money? Sometimes they block your account and it is your money and you cannot get it. What will you do now? Suppose they refuse to give you your money, what would you do? Or you invest your money in something. People invest here and there in bonds and shares. But if they refuse to give you, what do? Then you run to the court. In court, you have to spend more money. And then it's not guaranteed that it will come in your favor. But we put faith in so many things. But we don't put faith in God, who will never cheat you. If there is one person who will never cheat you, that is God. Right? Because he has no need to cheat you. All others can cheat. Banks are already cheating. They are cutting every time you go, they cut some money from you. First of all, they are keeping your money and making interest out of it. And then they keep on charging you for everything. You withdraw money, they take. You process something, they take money. So God has no need for that. He is Atmaram Aptakam. So he is the person we should actually trust. But he is the last person to trust. Right? In India we say, ये सब बूढ़े होंगे तब देखेंगे. ऐसे ही बोलते हैं ना. आपने भी बोला होगा इनको नहीं कि अभी क्या कर रहे हैं, जब बूढ़े होना तब करना है. और जब बूढ़े हो जाते हैं तब कोई नहीं करता है, क्योंकि तब बुद्धि नहीं रहती, कहाँ करेगा. When you become old, then where is the time for you to now think of God? Your mind is already so many samskaras, you are too occupied, nothing can get out of your head now. Old people keep on worrying for nothing. They are so good in worrying. That's all they do most of the time. Worrying about this, worrying about that. For no reason. Because that's what they have been doing, they have practiced it. They did a lot of sadhana. So now how can they get out of it? It's not possible. They don't realize this when they are young. So the idea is that just like people go to temple in India, then when they have to put money in the donation box, they will give the most rotten bill, the torn one, the useless thing they will put there. So like that, I have my youth, my good intelligence, health, that I use for family, for money making. When my body will become torn, worn out, everything, then I will give it to God. That also I think. And God is so cheap that he doesn't see this. So basically people have no faith, and then they say why God is not doing anything. If God is there, why there are so many problems? Can you tell me? If there is God, why there are so many problems? Because of their karma. Good. You have learned from your father. Very nice. So therefore, the only thing we have to do is bhakti. Because any other person is not reliable in life. So therefore, this is Brahma says, Tadevam anyat sarva sadhanam parityajya bhaktimeva kurvan tvam labhate iti prakarana artha avagata. So this is the conclusion of what he has said till now. This is Brahma speaking, not some ordinary person who can know more than him. Tatra kidrishah san kuryat iti apeksham. So now the question is that how we have to live doing bhakti. Do I give up my job and then do bhakti, come to Vrindavan? So he says, no, there's no need of that. Tatte anukampamsu sumukshamana. Actually God's grace is there all the time, but we don't look at it. We are trying to look at the grace of the boss, grace of some other person, that when this person can be gracious to me, grace some rich person, right? But God, who is actually giving the grace, we don't care for that. So he says you start living by seeing the grace. That's all you have to do. It's already there. Just start acknowledging it. And if you can start acknowledging it, then there is no problem. So then the question comes, what about the problem I am facing? That also is God's grace. So he says, Atmakritam Vipakam. That's what nonsense you did in the past. So the result is coming now. If you plant a seed, it will give you the result sooner or later. So we have planted many seeds in our past lives. Now they are giving the fruit. So what God can do in that? I put the plant, so I get the fruit. So bhunjana eva atmakritam vipaka. But you can still change the view about it. It's actually coming because of my own karma, what I did. Because karma does not rot, it does not get spoiled. If you keep things in store, after some time this gets spoiled. Especially food articles, things get rusted or they lose their life. Everything has a lifespan. Karma is something, nothing happens to it. It is insoluble. It can stay for millions of years. It will still come back. It is a seed, So it is bijam avyayam. It is an imperishable seed, karma. So today or tomorrow it will come back to you. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritam karma shubhashubham. Right? So not shiyate kritam karpa kalpakoti shatairat. Even if shatkoti kalpas, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions of years pass away, the karma does not get rotten. You have to get the result. Whenever the opportunity will, karma is looking for a chance. So whenever it gets, it catches you. It's always with you. So he says, okay, don't worry about it. Just tolerate it, but think, this is also grace. And if you can live like this, that's all. You don't have to do anything else. Simple, change of awareness. It's so easy. That's why bhakti is called easy, because all you have to do is you have to change your mindset. Just like when you do this double slit experiment, particle wave experiment. So you just change. You want to see it particle, particle. You want to see it wave, wave. Immediately. It already senses you what you are trying to do. So if you see it as grace, it is grace. If you see it as hell, it is hell. That's all. Just change. Then everything changes. So this is Brahma is giving this mantra. People say book of secret, book of secret. Right? There is a book of secret. So this is the book of secret. This is a simple secret. Your life will become immediately anxiety free. This is the antidote for all stress, anxiety. Tatte anukampam susamikshemana. Bhunjana eva atmakritam. Where is the anxiety now? Tell me. Where is the stress? Nothing. If everything is grace, where is the stress? Stress means no grace. Anxiety means no grace. Right? So if I am in anxiety, it means I don't believe in Krishna. Simple. That is the Anuman. Yatra yatra anxiety tattvam. Tatra tatra no beliefitvam. Right? So wherever there is anxiety, it means there is no belief in God. Right? You can make Panchavayava Narottama. You can write the 5-step syllogism and send to everybody on Jiva now. It's very simple. Yeah, we have to make use of Nyaya. So then everybody can make an Anuman whether they believe or not believe. You don't have to ask someone else. If you see somebody is in anxiety, then you know that this person does not believe in God. He does not believe in Krishna. Anuman. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Wherever there is anxiety, there is no belief. Is it difficult? Then you can give an example. Right? So yatha Jack, John, Jimmy, whatever, some name. So he says that, so how you have to live, what you have to do, he says, tatte iti. Tatte anukampam sumikshmana. Yasmad evam tat tasmad. So because the situation is like this, therefore, because the sloka begins with a tat. So it's a strange word to begin with. Tat is actually expecting something beforehand. Tat here is in the sense of therefore. Therefore what? Because it is like this. Like this means because bhakti is the only thing which should be done according to Brahma. Anyat sarv sadhanam parityajya bhakti meva kurvan. Because it is like this, therefore it says tatte anukampam susamikshana. That is the meaning of the word tat here. That's what he says. So yasmad evam, because there is a rule, yat tador nitya sambandha. That yat and tat, they are correlative pronouns. Means they always go together. Just like smoke and fire. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So wherever there is tat, there has to be yat. And it works other way around. Wherever there is yat, there has to be tat. So tat is there, but we don't see yat here. Right? In the sloka there is no yat. Only tat is there, so then we have to do adhyahar. Something which is not there, then you have to assume that to complete the sense. So that's why I say yasmadevam. Yasmad is form of the yat only. So yasmadevam tat tasmad atmakritam vipakam. So what is atmakritam vipakam? Vipakam means ripe, like you do pak, you cook something. So karma takes some time to give its pak, its fruit, its result, it has to get cooked to give the result. So it says, dharmasya hi apvargasya narthartha upkalpate ityatra pratipaditam bhakterapi ananu samhitam phalam sukham tadaparad phalam dukham cha bhunjana eva tam tavanukampam sushtu samyak ikshmana samaya praptam sukham dukham cha bhagavad anukampa phalam eva iti janam. So that this is how devotees see it. Devotees say that we have no karma. We have taken shelter of Krishna and there is no more karma for us. So why we get problems in our life then? So he says that problems come because of the offense and happiness comes because of bhakti. So if I am getting some good situation, that is because of the blessing of bhakti. If I am getting some obstacles in my life, that is because I have done offenses. So this is one view, this is devotees' view. Devotees also say my past karma, because they think I am not so great devotee that I am doing anything to get anything good. But he is speaking from devotees' point of view. So he says bhaktairapi ananusamhitam phalam sukham, that the side effect of bhakti is happiness, and tadaprad phalam dukkham, and the suffering, misery, bodily misery, mental misery, right? Adhyatmik, adi bhautik, adi daivik, all these three types of suffering. So they are coming because of the offense. So one takes it with brave heart. No problem. It's my own. Whether it is my karma or my offense, ultimately it is my action. Aparadha is also a type of action, forbidden action. When I suffer because of my karma, that was also forbidden action. So basically suffering comes when you do something which is forbidden. So then it brings the effect. So devotee sees like this. But in that also now he sees that this is also Krishna's grace. That is the twist. He is not cursing others for this. So he sees that this suffering also has got some grace for me. Because in life everything sweet is not grace. Trouble is also a grace. We have learned so many things because of obstacles, problems. We have many realizations. Actually you get more realization in your life when problems come. If everything is going well, you don't learn much. You may actually get lazy and spoiled and lackadaisical. So therefore he says that dukkham cha bhunjana eva tam tav anukampam sushtu samyak ikshmana. So he sees, ikshmana is in present continuous. And not only seeing can be good seeing or bad seeing. You are seeing and then you are cursing. Why the hell is this happening to me? So he says, no, sushtu samyak ikshmana, susamikshamana. Tatte anukampam susamikshamana. Seeing in a nice way. So trying to see even something undesirable is happening, trying to see grace of Krishna even in that. Not only when something desirable happens, then you say, oh, this is Krishna's mercy. That everybody can say. The real test is when something undesirable is happening and you still think it is Krishna's grace. That is devotee's mind. It's not easy, but also not that difficult. If you have faith, actually it's not difficult at all. But if we have problem, then means I am not having faith. Many times people write to me, oh, I have this problem, that problem, why Krishna is sending this problem to me? So I ask him, so you think Krishna has nothing else to do but sending problems to you? Is he a sadist? Why should he send problem to you, tell me? If he is sending problem to you, is he sending problem to, even if he is sending problem to you, is he sending this because he is enjoying it or he wants you to learn? I accept that he is sending the problem. First of all, he is not doing that. But even if I accept that he is sending the problem, why is he sending it? First of all, you should think that he is so considerate that at least he is thinking of me to give me a problem. Otherwise he says, Samoham Surabhutesu. Na me dveshastu na priyam. I am equal to all. I am indifferent. I don't care. So if you think he is sending problem to you, you are quite lucky. Means you are in his thoughts. So is that something less? That this person whom Brahma says I cannot understand, his qualities I cannot count, he is sending you trouble. He must be quite important person in his eyes, because if he is trying to trouble you. So then at least we should think, okay, why is he trying to trouble me? So there are only two reasons. He is trying to trouble you because he enjoys this. Right? So that does not make sense. He is certainly not a sadist like that. He is also not completely like what you call, that has nothing else to do. So if he is doing this, then he must be doing it for your good. He is trying to teach you, then you should feel happy about that. So that's why Kunti Devi was praying. She was saying, Vipada santu na shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavata darshanam yat sat apunar bhav darshanam. So then you should see that in that problem you should see Krishna. Bhavata darshanam yadi sat. If things are happening good, you don't remember God. Right? People generally remember when there is some problem. Artho jigyasu artharthi. Sukh mein. Dukh mein sumran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. So that is his darshan. Then you should see this trouble is Krishna. If he is sending, at least you see his hand in it. So, but people devotees become disturbed. Says, why Krishna is sending this to me? So that's not a good way of seeing at things, complaining like that. So, sushtu samyak ikshmana samaye praptam sukham dukham cha bhagavad anukampa phalam eva idimiti jana. So, whatever is coming to me, whether it is sukham or dukham, whether it is pleasurable situation or troublesome situation. So seeing that as a result of grace of Bhagavan. So if it is grace, then I have nothing to complain. How can I complain if I am getting Krishna's grace? Can I complain? Only thing is that grace may be coming in two ways. That's all. So sometimes grace comes in the nice way, sometimes it comes like a slap to you. So that also is to be taken. So he gives a very nice example here. Pita yatha swaputram samaye samaye dugdham nimbarasam chakirpura payeti. So he says, like there is a father and he has a son. So sometimes he is giving milk to the son, some fruit juice, ice cream. So then Mahima likes that. But sometimes he gives the bitter neem juice. Have you ever tasted neem juice? No, you should take, we have neem here outside. So sometimes he gives that bitter medicine. Bitter medicine maybe you have taken sometime. So that also father gives But if father is giving bitter medicine, is he giving because he hates you or he loves you? When he gives you cake to eat, you think he is nice, he loves me, right? Or he gives you chocolate. But when he is giving you bitter medicine, then also he loves you because he knows that you are sick, you have some problem, and this problem will be taken away, you will become healthy. So for your health, he gives bitter medicine. So like that, Krishna gives sometimes like sweet chutney, sometimes he gives hot sauce. Because he knows that hot sauce is also good for you. So you may not like it, but it is good. So he is doing for your welfare. Sweet chutney everybody likes, but bitter pill people don't like. So therefore he says that that's how he is doing. He is like a compassionate father who sometimes gives milk and sometimes gives neem juice, which is very bitter. So kripaya eva payati. In both instances, he is being compassionate to the son. Because just as milk gives nourishment to the body, that bitter neem juice is also for good health, to kill some bacteria or some other problem, to purify the system. That's why he's maybe to remove the fever. Ashlisya chumbati panitalena praharati cha. Sometimes he embraces and sometimes he also gives a slap. But in both, it is his compassion. When you don't listen and he knows that what you are doing is wrong, then he may also slap you. So panitalena praharti cha ityevam mama hitahitam putrasya piteva mat prabhureva janati natuha. So he says that he is like my father, and just as father knows what is good for the son, good father, we are talking about good father here. There are also fathers who are abusive, who unnecessarily torture their children. We are not talking about that. So because Krishna is not like that, he is not abusive. So devotee knows that my Lord Krishna, he knows what is good for me and what is not good for me. So therefore he engages me in good action and stops me from engaging in bad action. And for that he sends me all different types of situations. He puts me in difficult situations. So he is doing this. He only knows what is beneficial for me. I am ignorant. I don't know, although I think that I know. But from my own experience, I understand that in the past I made many mistakes. If we are sincere and we deliberate on our actions and take stock of our own life, we will know that I made many mistakes in my life. If we sincerely think. But if we are proud and egoistic, then we think I never made any mistakes. So just as in the past I have made many mistakes, I made certain decisions which I thought that, oh, this decision is good for me. Later on I repent, no, I should not have done it. So in the same way I may be doing something now, because when I took that decision, at that time I did not think that it is wrong. I thought this is good for me. But at that time also Krishna knew that this is wrong. So now also he knows that what you are doing is wrong and he wants to stop you from that. So he gives you an obstacle, and then you hate that. Why is doing this to me? Because you are ignorant. Your knowledge is very limited. You know nothing about your own self. So he knows. So this is what Shraddha means. This is the meaning of Shraddha. If I keep on thinking I know what is good for me, then I don't have Shraddha in God. If God is trying to do something other than what I think is good for me. So I may think and I may be wrong. So therefore, Saeva Kripaya. So my tad bhakte nasti kal karmadinam keshamapi adhikara. So really devotee knows that this time, karma, they don't have any control over me. I am not within their jurisdiction. I am not in the jurisdiction of karma principle or time or anything. I am under the shelter of Krishna's feet. So who can tantra, mantra, raksha, yaksha, rakshasa, what they can do to me? Nobody can do anything. It's impossible. If I have taken shelter of Krishna, there is nobody who is more powerful than him. We have seen this. So if I have taken shelter of Krishna, who is the most powerful person, then who can actually trouble me? It is impossible. Which karma can come and touch me? Impossible. So if still something is happening, then I know that it is Krishna's will. He wants it like this. I should be happy. What's my problem? Why it has to be according to my wish? Surrender means your wish is my wish, not that my wish is you should follow my wish. No, that's what people think. I am your servant, I am your devotee. Why this is happening? You should do it like you have surrendered or you want him to surrender to you. Yeah, this is what people think. They take diksha from Guru, then they think now Guru has to do what I want him to do. So why you take diksha? So it's a dangerous position to be a Guru, because then disciple want Guru to act according to their wish. Yes, this is a fact. Not that I have to follow the Guru. Guru should do what I think is right, because he does not know. So we think about Krishna same way, Krishna does not know, I know. So now Brahma says, no, it is not like that. This is not what Brahma thinks. Brahma does not think like this. But we think we are smarter than a person who has got 4 heads. He is an all-rounder. So therefore devotee is free from all this. Saiva kripaya sukha dukhe bhojayati. Because the time, karma, all these 3 gunas, they are not having any influence on me. Whatever is happening to me, it is by Krishna's grace. So then I don't have to blame this, that, and I don't have to now go to ask Jyotish, when is this going to happen, what is that going to happen. So all this Kal Mahurat, sab bakwas. Swam sevayati chaiti vimrishya. So it is he who engages me in his service. If I am doing service, that is also by his grace. Otherwise I become proud. I am doing seva, I am doing better seva than you. Who are you? I am a better devotee, I am a senior devotee. All types of ideas people have, right? What service are you doing? You are just eating and sleeping. So he says, no, swam sevayati chaiti vimrishya. This is how a devotee thinks. Yatha chared bal hitam pita swayam tatha tvameva arhasina samihitam. So through this Prithu Maharaj, he said this to Vishnu, who appeared when he asked, what do you want? So he says that just like father, he knows what is good for the child. Yatha chared bal hitam pita. So father acts for the welfare of the son. Like that, you know what is good for me. So I don't want to ask. You do what is good for me. And this is surrender. Otherwise, give me this, give me that, and the list will never come to an end. So he says, no, you are my protector, you are my master, you are my well-wisher. So whatever you think is good for me, you do that. I don't have anything to ask from you. So this is what he says, yatha chared bal hitam pita swayam tatha tameva arhasi na samihita. So iti prithuriva pratyaham bhagvantam vijyapayan hridadibhir namaskurvan nativa klishyanyo jivet sa muktischa padam cha tayor dandakyam tasmin sansaran mukta utvacharan swayam cha iti anusangika mukhya falyordaaya bhag bhavati. So this, with this kind of mentality and submitting to Krishna like this, one who lives while bowing down with his heart, Hridvagavapubhir, with a dhan namaste, namaskurvan, bowing down, nativ klishyan, not taking too much anxiety, stress unnecessarily. Yo jivet, one who lives like this, sa mukti pada daya bhag. So mukti pada is a samas with two words, mukti and pada. So muktischa padamcha, tvayor, it is a dvandva samas. So you are having the inheritance of mukti and also pada, Krishna's feet, both. Tasmin sansaran muktau tva charana sevayam cha iti anusangik mukhya falyor daya bhag. So you will become liberated from this material world and also will get service to Krishna's feet. This will be the anusangik mukh falyor daya bhag. So these are two fruits. One is secondary, anusangik, and one is primary. So primary fruit is getting service to feet of Krishna, and secondary you are liberated from the material. That liberation people are calling fourth purushartha. So that will come without us. यथा पुत्रस्य दाय प्राप्तो जीवनमेव कारणम तथा भक्तस्य जीवनम तच्च भक्ति मार्गे स्थितिरेव. So just as how does one inherit the property of the father? If father leaves the body and son is living, if son survives the father, then son will get the property of the father. So what has he done to become qualified to get the property? He lived. So like that he says, you just live. But live as a devotee. That is the idea. Live like this. Tatte anukampam susamikshamana. So if you live like this, then mukti pada you will get. I mean, what can be more easy than this? Is it very hard? But people don't want to do this also. This also they find difficult. So just by surviving, one gets the property of the father. Like that, if you just survive like this, you will get the property. Otherwise you are dead. So when you say why others don't get it, so he says, Dhritaiva swasan asubhrito yadute nuvidha. So if you don't become devotee and you live, then you are like a bellow breathing. Means you are a dead person, that's why you don't get. The other people don't inherit this property because they are not living. As Sonaka also said, that tarva kim na jivanti, bhastra kim na sosanti ut. So, na khadanti na mehanti, grama pasva pare. That's other non-devotees can say, we are also living. So he says, what do you mean you are living? He says, well, breathe, we are breathing. He says, bellow is also breathing. So then they say, well, we eat. The animals also eat. So what is the big deal? So therefore he says, Dhritya iva swasanti asubhrito yadite nuvidha. So that is not living, that is not life. So living means living as a devotee, and then mukti pade daya bhag. Such a wonderful thing which Brahma has spoken. So I will stop here if anybody has any question to ask.
Babaji, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Babaji, in the Vedanta Paribhasha, we studied that Atma and Brahma is some.
Atma?
It's just Atma and Brahma is some, it's the same. Just that people don't know it. Therefore, the entire thing is to get a Brahmakar Vritti inside the Chitta. So it's just, so here it seems, is it similar to that in the sense that, okay, grace is always there, it's just that you have to look and you have to just, the Vritti has to be imprinted in the Chitta. Is it similar, or is it similar to that concept?
What is the similarity?
The similarity is there, the reality is only Brahma. It's just that you don't know it. The Vritti is not there. So the only thing is that the Brahmakar Vritti has to be born inside the Chitta. And then you realize this was always the case. Now here you mentioned that it's like this wave particle duality where if you see it in this particular way, it's a particular light. So is it, in that case, it's similar, that grace is always there. It's just that you don't know it or you don't see it. The idea is to kind of have that vritti that Krishna is always, it is always dependent upon him. You always sheltered under him. So that is the vritti to create, because it's always the case anyways.
Yeah, but I am unable to see the similarity. I mean, that you can say the light is all, the air is always there. All you have to make is vritti. I don't understand what is the similarity.
No, the similarity is that the reality is always existing, and then you just don't know it.
Yeah, but why are you comparing this with Advaita Vedanta? That's my point. What is so special about Brahman here?
Some sense it seems to be like Srishti Drishtivad, because what you see is what happens. So in that sense, I thought it was similar. If you see it, that's how it is. That they also say the same thing. If you see it, that's how it is. So.
Yeah, Srishti Drishtivad is, you are not creating it. In the Srishti Drishtivad, they say that when you look, then it is created. So here you are not creating Krishna's grace. It is there, whether you accept it or not accept it. In their case, the world is not there, you create it with your look. So that's the dissimilarity. Any other question? Yes. Can you give the mic?
I have to formulate the question here.
Good.
So this verse is popular, and I've heard it many times in the past. It's misunderstood as well, I think, or maybe it's difficult to understand overall. It's also criticized for by people outside Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So I'll just give some anecdotes. I had a friend who knew a Chaitanya Vaishnava family, and they had a tragedy in their family. And then they were looking at it as grace. And this person just couldn't compute. This person could not compute this at all. In the sense, it's not grace. You have to do something. You have to counter. You have to. How are you saying this is a grace? It's such a bad thing that's happened. So she thought, well, this is just fanaticism, or this is just woolly-headed thinking. You know, these people don't know what they're doing. They've fallen into some kind of cult. And then I was just thinking about Mahabharata, for example. You know, when Draupadi was being disrobed and Bhima is getting angry, and he vows to kill Dushashan, and he's not seeing that as grace. You know what's happening to Draupadi is grace. It's hard to see that. And so there's also this element of, I don't think that people really internalize this anyway, but some people might become fatalistic and not counter, not do what is in their capacity to right or wrong or to take action. So there's not really a question here, but I was just wondering about your thoughts on this. This seems a little...
Yeah, there's always possibility of misunderstanding philosophy. So there are various levels of devotion. This is one level. Now if you want to take only at this level, it is perfect. So Bhima is not acting at this level. So what we do is that we take one sloka and then we apply it. There are various levels of bhakti. So Saranagati is one level where we say that I am surrendered to God and He is my protector, right? So, and I don't need to do anything. That is one level. But then there are other levels where we think that God actually belongs to me and I have to feed Him, I have to do this. So those who think that God is the creator, God is majestic, God is this, God is that, then they take shelter and they think God is doing everything and I don't need to do anything. That is one view. But there is another view of Madhurya which he has talked. Then they are not going to do like that. Nanda Maharaj is not going to sit down like this. The now Agasur, Bakasur is coming. This is grace. Let Putana come and kill my child. This is grace. He is not going to think like that. This is one level of understanding. This is a very basic point which he is saying, that even if you cannot do anything else, do this much. But you cannot apply this. People like Bhima or Arjuna and all, they are highly elevated devotees. They are not just on this level. So there have been devotees also of this type who do not care. You can do anything to them. You can take away their property. They just depend. They also live like that. So that is one way. But that is not that every devotee is of this type or every devotee should be of that type. But even those devotees who are of higher type, they, whatever has happened, that also they think it is Krishna's grace and still they will act. What should be done? So that part people forget. Ultimately whatever happens is their grace. That's what Bhishma speaks in his prayers. He of course says, Sarvam Kal Kritam Manye. Yatra Dharms Suto Raja Gada Pani Virkodara Astri Krishna Gandiva Tatra Sruhid Krishna Tato Bhayam. Bhishma says that where the king is son of Dharma, where there is Bhima, Virkodara, Gadapani, where there is Arjuna who has Gandiva in his hand, just the twang of that bow, people get scared by that, like some terrorist comes and blows her. And Krishna is there, Shruhida, and there the problems are coming. He says, how can I understand this? So he says, this is all his play. He wanted it to be like this. So he is seeing it, and still you have to act. That's why they did not complain. Otherwise they would have asked Krishna, please do something. Our wife got insulted, now we are in the forest, why don't you do something? But did they say that? No. They took this also as grace of Krishna and continued to follow their duties. So taking the grace and still doing what needs to be done, that is another step of it.
Thank you. That was useful. I just wanted to mention another example that just came to mind. I know a friend, very well-to-do, well-established, has 3 daughters. He lost everything, his property overnight, on the street. And he's Gaudiya Vaishnav. He called his guru. He called his guru on the phone. The guru says, if you only could see me now, I'm dancing with joy. This is the best thing that could have happened to you. I'm thinking, what, this guy is nuts. So, this is another example of the extremes that this thing can be taken to. And of course, the person who is hearing, he thinks, okay, maybe this is something great happening to me.
Yeah, the point is that if he can do it, he will see the greatness. So they only speak about it. But when the situation comes there, they don't have the faith like that. If you actually have the faith like that, then it will happen. Just like Mirabai, she was given poison. So she had faith, okay, this is Krishna's prasad. She takes it. Nothing happened to her. That kind of faith she had. Or the snake turned into salagram. She was put in a house where it was known that there are ghosts and anybody who spends a night there is killed by them. So she was put in that. So at night the ghosts came and they said, we are fortunate that you have appeared in our family, now we are all liberated. He says, we are actually the forefathers, the previous king, we have done so many things, we became ghosts and you are here to liberate us. Because she was dancing there in the ghost house also, she was dancing in front of her Girdhar Gopal. So if you have that kind of conviction, then you will also see the corresponding. But people say, but inside they are not thinking like that. Otherwise, why is he calling? If he had a conviction like this, he is not going to call. And even if he calls, he will just give him the news that this has happened and I am quite happy about it. But it's not. So this is something which has to be experienced. And when you have this experience, you will see that this is 100% true. Not one word is wrong here. Not one word is wrong. It is 100% true, what is written here. So it is a matter of experience and not just talking about it and not actually having the inner conviction, which happens many times. People don't have the inner conviction, they talk, they give lecture, when it happens to them, then they are unable to take it. No, it's a fact. And even logically you can understand, I mean, where is our independence in anything? If you think, this breath I am taking, it can stop, one breath goes out, it doesn't come in, what will I do? So it is only by when I am sleeping, at least when I am awake I can say I am breathing. When you are sleeping, can you say that you breathe? You are not even aware where you are. Still the breath is going on. I eat food, do I have any control? I can digest it. I mean, food and breath, this is how the body survives. And I have absolutely no control over it. So if I know this, then how can I say I am this and I am that? I know that it's by Krishna's grace it is happening. When he wants to stop it, he will stop it like that. Aham vasvanaro bhutva pachami innam chaturvidam pranopansama bhutva pachami innam chaturvidam. So it is a fact. I don't accept it, that is another thing. But the fact is this, he is digesting the food. If he doesn't want to digest, you try whatever you want to try, it won't get digested. You can do acupressure, you can do anything. Okay.
If there is time,
पूछो सब time है पूरा time. Yeah, what is the point? We have to understand this and put into our practice. We are not in a hurry.
The follow-up question, you said it is, we don't create the grace, but my doubt in my mind is that a person who does not think like that, does not attain the good fortune, does not attain mukti, does not attain pada. When a person actually has complete from his heart, has faith like this, attains it. So the effect is different. So if the effect is different, there should be a cause within it, right? So
the cause is just like when the sunshine is there outside, right? You are not creating the sunshine. Yes, there is sunshine and you are not the creator of sunshine. But if you want the benefit of sunshine, you have to get out of your house. But if you don't want to get out of the house, the sunshine is there, but you don't get benefit of it. So you are not creating it and you are also not getting the benefit of it. But one who knows that there is sunshine, I want benefit, I get out of the house and I get sun bath. So in the same way, grace is there, but some people accept and others don't accept. Some say, no, there is no. You're just talking nonsense. How can
So
you
that analogy is very, very clear. Thank you.
Yeah, I have same doubt regarding the grace. Grace is always there, but turning the face toward the grace also need the grace.
So what is that?
So that from where it will come?
Then you just listen to me and turn it. I'm telling you, but if you don't want to do it, then what can I do? I mean, now you are saying that you have nothing to do in it. So that is also okay. Even that is acceptable if you stick to your words. If you go to that level that I will not do anything. If he wants me to take the grace, that also he himself has to do it, but then remain sincere to that. But we don't remain sincere to that. Then when it is hunger, food is there, then I will do this. Then I will not say, well, it is up to him. No, you can surrender to that level, then also he will take care. But we say like this, but there is disparity between our words and actions. So you can try to experience it.
My point is like that either first Krishna accept or the Jiva turning face towards.
No, Krishna accepts. But you are already accepted, so why are you asking this question?
No, I am asking for other people like that.
Forget about others. Okay, any other question?
Yes, just briefly, the example you just gave about the grace that we have to get out of the house to get the sunshine. Could this be explained as exemplified in the Rāsa-līlā with the 2 fingers of the robe, which is lacking, that one finger represents the endeavor of the devotee and the other finger is Bhagavan's grace? So both has to be there, the endeavor has to be there, and the
Yeah, that is the whole idea. Otherwise, why is saying tatte anukampam susumikshamana? So what is the meaning of susumikshamana? Means seeing, looking, investigating. Means he has to do something. So that is the role which we have to play. And Jiva, he lives with this mindset, with this mood. So this is what we have to do. So we have something to perform. This Manushya, this human birth is called karmayoni. Means this is the species in which we have to do karma. That's why you have hands. Other species don't have hands, so they don't need to do karma. It's not expected from them. So you have to do something. But while doing, think of this as grace, whatever situation is coming. And then you will see everything will become nice. Everything will just flow. You will be peaceful. So shanti matmati. So your mind will be always in peace. Because there is no reason to be disturbed by anything. And this does not mean that I don't act. Actually, devotee works more than others. There is no holiday for, there is no weekend. There is no, okay, now it's 5 o'clock, office time is over. No, he is on 24 hours. Because where is he going to go? After taking leave, where will he go? So So therefore he is always in seva, and that is happiness. And without stress. There is no stress now. So this is very important to have this conviction. And then so many problems are solved immediately.
Sometimes devotees are also anxiety, means if they are not giving or the what they want to do in the path of bhakti, like that someone want to study or someone doing the deity worship or know the truth.
Yeah, but that is not considered as anxiety. That is all part of seva.
नहीं आप कह रहे थे नहीं जहाँ जहाँ
Yeah,
धुआं
this anxiety, you know what I mean, what anxiety mean. That is not. Okay.